What's happening, people? What's happening? Hold on. There you go. One more time. What's up? What's up, folks? Yeah, it is a Thursday. And most of the time I'm not down here on a Thursday. But tomorrow, got dinner plans with the kids. So I will not be hanging out on Friday. But a few things came up today that I wanted to address and try to make clear a little bit on a few things that I'm hearing, I'm seeing, and people are saying. Okay. And, add my 2 cents on it. Be like, why not, right? But before I start running off at the mouth here, I do want to answer. I got to answer this here question, which was posed to me just a little bit ago. She said it's a great conversation. I would say it was very different here in. Well, I'll tell you what the question was. It says, "Hey, black people. Did the vast majority of you dignify George Floyd?" George Floyd has been in the news here lately because, we have people like Ben Shapiro, who's running around with this nutty idea that, to me, again, like I said, I think he just wants to start trouble. He wants to start trouble because I think Ben, of all people, realize and understand. And I found this video clip that I'm gonna tweet. Basically, when George Floyd first happened, Ben Shapiro had a whole total different mindset when George Floyd first happened. So let us not forget. See, that's why the internet is forever. Right? But he had a whole total different mindset. And nobody said anything. Nobody called him on it or anything. But now that he's running off at the mouth about it, and now that he's saying just flat out stupid things about him, right? And now that, Elon Musk, Mr. South African apartheid guy, I mean, the guy grew up during apartheid. So let's make sure we understand that. And if you don't know what apartheid is, if you don't realize and understand how the whites treated I would have probably rather been a slave than be over there in apartheid when Elon Musk was growing up and how black people were treated. That's who we dealing with when he wants to retweet out. That's why I said, if Elon wants to help somebody who's been railroaded by this justice system, I got a guy, his name is Philip Vance, who's sitting in the Rush prison right now. He got railroaded by the same system that everybody is crying for on Derek Chauvin. The same guy. If he wants to help, I've got people. I got people who need help, Elon Musk. Yeah. I got people. I got to follow her back here. Let me hit her with a follow back here. We don't need to drum up problems. We really, really don't. But that was the question. If, how we view and so I'm about to piss some people off. Because I'm going to tell you exactly. When hold on one second. Let me do this real quick because I always forget to do this and then like the like that camera. I'm gonna get a new camera next week because this camera's been pissing me off for I don't know how long. Anyway, that's gonna bug me for a second. My OCD is kicking in right now with this camera. But let me give some people out there 2 cents about how people here in Minnesota, where it happened, the epicenter of all that happened. Because it's like I tell people, because everybody always talking about, well, did you watch the fall of Minneapolis? Yeah, I watched that propaganda film, and I broke it down and told you exactly why. I'm not telling people not to watch it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Now, I've never said that. Never said that. Never said don't watch it. No, seriously, go watch it. I want people to watch it. But there's always two sides to every story. That's just one side of the story. But let me get back to where I was at here, because I don't want to get off track on this, because I really, really want people to try to understand this. When O.J. Simpson went to trial, correct? And everybody was, white people were, you guys loving O.J. Simpson and O.J. Simpson this and O.J. Simpson that, and the black community was like, nobody give a damn about O.J. Simpson. We could care less about. O.J. ain't been black in I don't know how long. O.J. has never done anything for the black community. Nobody, we didn't care about O.J. Simpson. That y'all cared about O.J. Simpson. And then you try to put it on us. Like we care. I could care less. I was like, whatever. OJ isn't that. OJ wasn't important to me. Only time OJ was important to me was when he was on the football field. Boy, I was one of the OJ. I'm gonna find this picture and I'm gonna show you guys. I had a jersey. It had number 32 on it for the Juice. But after that, OJ really wasn't. We didn't care. Until he started running from the police. When OJ got into that, it wasn't about who got murdered. It wasn't about if he did it or not. When OJ got into that Bronco, I'm going to tell you when black people start caring about OJ. When OJ got in that Bronco and he started running from the police, every black person in America fell in love with OJ right then and there. Right then and there. Because he was running from Uncle Charlie, Mr. Charlie. If you ever get a chance, I want you to watch this movie. Watch the movie. The movie is called In the Heat of the Night with Sidney Poitier. If you have never watched that movie, seriously, it's a good old, you're talking about a good old classic movie. Please watch that movie. And in that movie, the black lady, when the black lady finds out that Sidney Poitier is a cop, she asked him a simple question. You work for Mr. Charlie. And in the South, Mr. Charlie was the police. And she goes, why you want to do that? Why would you work for Mr. Charlie? Mr. Charlie was bad. We didn't like Mr. Charlie in the South because Mr. Charlie did bad things to black people. But she asked that simple question to you. Why you want to work for Mr. Charlie? You know what Mr. Charlie has done to people who look exactly like you. Watch the movie. It's a good movie. I'm telling you. I just watched it a couple of days. I've seen that movie, I don't know, umpteen many times. Because that's the first time on a movie scene, and another part of that movie black people like, is I'm about to tell you guys the whole movie. I don't want to do that because I want you to watch it because it's so good. It is a awesome movie. It's set back in what, 1967, 67, 68. But the movie is really good. So Sidney Poitier goes into this here rich white guy's house, and the rich white guy smacks him, and Sidney Poitier just smack. Oh my God! You watch that in the movie theater, all the black people in the movie theater would be clapping. And then the white dude said, "Do you know what I can have done to you? You don't hit a white man. Not in 1967, you didn't." But nobody cared about OJ until he got into that Bronco. He started running from Mr. Charlie. That's when OJ became our hero. He wasn't the hero because he killed a white woman. I heard that. I heard that so much. Nobody. He became a hero is because the same system, listen to me, the same system that has locked up black man after black man after black man, he got off. That system that has roped so many black people, OJ got off on that system, on your system, on a system that was built to make sure that black men went to jail, no matter what, whether they was guilty or not. How many black men have been lied on right here in Minnesota, right here in the state of Minnesota, up in Duluth? A white woman lied on 3 black men. They hung them. Put them in a rope, put a rope around their neck, pulled a little bitty lever, and they fell to their death. Innocent. Nobody cheered for OJ himself. They cheered because he ran from Uncle Charlie, from Mr. Charlie, and he beat a dirty system. That's what that was about. White people still can't get that through their heads. They still try to make it about OJ. It wasn't him, people. It wasn't him. It wasn't. That could have been anybody that the police would have chased and he would have got off. It just happened to be OJ. And when OJ got off, you didn't see black people putting OJ up on their shoulders and carrying him around. You didn't see, yeah, they cheered. They cheered because he bucked the system. After Rodney King, I'm still dating myself here. Y'all know what happened with Rodney King. Before Rodney King, black people was like police brutality. Malcolm X talked about police brutality. Look it up. Look these things up that I'm telling you so you can sit there and go, okay, he kind of knows a little bit what he's talking about. Not all the time, but a little bit. Dr. King, my grandfather, right there in Memphis, Tennessee, where I'm from, was bit by a dog during the garbage strikes. Protest. I got that in my blood. I got protest in my that's why I love a good protest. Y'all know that. But they use water hoses. to use dogs, billy clubs on black people. Mr. Charlie did this. Freedom riders, white people who got on these buses and went down to the South, and they beat them too. Before Rodney King, white folks said, yeah, you did. This is what you said. We don't believe in police brutality. We don't get to see it. So if I can't, they said, what'd you say? If I can't see it, it didn't happen. Black folks running around, the police beating us upside our head. They stopping us and they doing this and they doing some bad stuff, and we don't see nothing. We back the police. We back the blue no matter what, right? I mean, that's today. That thin line y'all always talk about. So all of a sudden, Rodney King comes along, and it's on video. It's on video. Exactly what you said you needed to see. We said, there it is. Look at the police. Look at what the police are doing to that black man. Look how that's what they do to black people. They beat black men just like they're doing. Now you get to see it. It was on your TV set. It was in color, not black and white. It was in color. And you know what you did? You said, we don't care. He should have complied with the police. We don't care how many times they hit him. We don't care how many times they tased him. We don't care how many times they beat him. What he should have done is he should have, and air all you other ones that get harassed by the police, all you other ones that get beat up on side the head by the police, all you other ones that's sitting in jail under this crooked system. That's what you said. So by the time OJ rolls around, black people are fed up. We fed up. We fed up with Mr. Charlie, and we fed up with the system. So now we got a black man who ran from Mr. Charlie and has bucked the system. So he didn't care it was OJ. Could care less about that man. Again, like I said, we did not, when he got off, you didn't see black people around him all the time. You didn't see OJ in the hood hanging out with rappers and getting, fake teeth and wearing gold chains and wearing hoodies. We didn't care. OJ wasn't the prize. The prize was Mr. Charlie and the system. That was the prize. And after OJ, we thought things were going to change. Oh, things are going to change now. The white people were going to wake up and realize that their system that's supposed to make sure OJ was put behind bars, their system to make sure that people like OJ, that look like OJ, was put behind bars for killing people who look like them. We thought you was going to change your tune when it came to that. That it was going to be different now because you saw the system did not work the way you thought it was. We thought things were going to change, and they did not. No, the system didn't change. No, it didn't. You felt somewhere down the line, OJ was going to get his just due. They was going to find a way, even though he found a way to get himself back in prison. But y'all thought it was going to be under the system that you built to keep people like him in there. And that didn't work. So he said, okay, what we'll do is we'll give the police more authority. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Every time you turn around, the Republicans are doing everything they possibly can do to bump up what the police, stop and frisk. Nah. And all that wasn't working, so you gave them more authority. And they got so used to just being able to do whatever they wanted to do. Like I said, if you don't know what the jump out boys are, read the DOJ report from the Minneapolis police that they did on the Minneapolis Police Department. I was supposed to change that light yesterday, and I didn't. Again. And it's about to bug me now. It was a camera when I first started. Now it's the light. Read the DOJ report that was done on the Minneapolis Police Department. You have to. Listen, you can't say a word about George Floyd and Derek Chauvin if you don't read that police department report. So now the police is, we're king. We can do whatever we want to do. And Derek Chauvin and George Floyd, George Floyd just happens to be the OJ. We don't run around. We don't run around with George Floyd stickers all over our cars. We don't run around with little keychains with George Floyd's on it. We don't run around with eyeglasses, probably with George Floyd in the sunglasses, or, everybody got a George Floyd shirt on. That's not what we do. George Floyd just happens to be the OJ. We know who George Floyd was. There was a reason. Look, George Floyd was in the area he was in because that area was dirty and nasty and what it turned into be. 38th in Chicago used to be a place you could let your kids ride their bike down 38th in Chicago with no problem. It's like it is now. There's places in Minneapolis you can go, right? And then there's places in Minneapolis you just can't go. Period, point blank. I can go, but you can't. So do we look at George Floyd as all up here and people are, there's statues of George Floyd. I don't know of I haven't seen them put up a statue. They put up a big fist, but that's not George Floyd's fist. So we don't honor George Floyd. He's not being honored. He just happens to be the OJ. He happens to be the one who put these cops in jail. He's the guy. It could have been a woman. It could have been Sandra Bland. If Sandra Bland, when she died, if Sandra Bland had put cops in jail, she would have been the one. She would have been the one. If Terrence Crutcher, when the cop killed him, had to put that cop in jail, he would have. When Philando Castile was murdered, if that cop would have went to jail, he would have been the one. It just happened to be George Floyd. No, George is not all high and mighty. No. But he just happens to be the one that the system worked and put a cop in jail. Even though now it's funny. It's funny to me how all of a sudden the blue, no matter what, just went out the door. Just went out. I mean, literally went out the door. Because it was his own department the blue, that thin blue line, who sat up in the jewelry box. Hold on. Let me make sure we understand what I just said. They sat up in this box in a courtroom with a judge, a jury, and prosecutors, his peers, and said, that guy did it. The blue line pointed the finger at him. And here you all mad at the blue line. Oh, my God. Here you are mad at the blue line. So no, to your answer. When they say, hey, black people, did the vast majority of you dignify? No, it wasn't George Floyd. It was the system, the very broke system that we've been telling y'all about. The very broke system that you used on us from the time we walked off those plantations. That broke system got one of yours. That is what pisses you off. That is why Ben Shapiro is trying to start a race war. Instead of Ben Shapiro using his platform to understand how bad this system is. Y'all see it. You see how bad the system is because it got one of yours. The very system that has railroaded many of black men. And that's why you don't want to change it. Can we be real for a second? That's why you want to change it. Because it has only affected people who look like me. So you sit there and says, oh no, this system works fine. No, the system does not work fine. It's a flawed system. You see it. Chauvin is in jail right now. Katie, the one who shot the kid, who thought that she had a taser instead of a gun, she went to jail under this very flawed system, a white woman. She did time. Blue line, a cop. And until y'all can come to grips and start saying everybody should be equal, that system is going to get another one. Then what you do? You're going to cry about that for I don't know how long? Oh, they should be. Well, let's go watch the fall of Minneapolis so we can feel good. Let's go watch that propaganda crap so we can feel good. That'll make us feel good. That's the only reason they did that. That was put together because they wanted to lie to you and they wanted you to feel good. And it worked. Because I blew holes in that whole little movie thing. Just like when they were sitting there talking about, oh, the police had to run down. If you go to that video and you watch when those police are coming out of the precinct and they told y'all that they were running, go look. Go look for yourself. It wasn't running. A couple of cops took off running, trying to keep up with the thing. And then the rest of them realized, ain't nobody messing with us. Let's walk down the street. And that's what they did. But in that little propaganda film, oh, they had to run for their lives. Nobody was doing nothing. But the little propaganda film tell you they was running for their life. So what I'm telling you, to answer your question to you is no. Nobody puts George Floyd on a pedestal except for white folks. When they lying and say that we got because there is no George Floyd statues. He ain't in the middle of the street and all this here type of stuff. And the people who use now George Floyd, the people who still use the Black Lives Matter crap, because there's still some white liberals who believe in that crap and will believe in it to be stupid enough to give these people money. Not the main Black Lives Matters, but we still got people here in Minnesota who these little groups that call themselves Black Lives Matter. So therefore they can find a way to get money off of George Floyd's name. Oh yeah, people still getting a little bit of money. It ain't much. It's not much, but they still get a little bit of money off of George Floyd's name. And again, like I said, this is not about George Floyd. This is because of a system that got a cop, a white cop at that, bonus points in jail. So just wanted to answer that question there real quick. Sorry it took as long as it did, but I just want people to understand that when white people are sitting there going, George Floyd this and George Floyd, that don't hurt us. That don't hurt us at all. You can say what you want about George Floyd. We knew who George Floyd was. We knew the reason why George Floyd was in the area that he was in. Because it was a dirty, rundown area that produced prostitutes, drugs, gangs, shootings, assaults, everything you can name was right there where George Floyd was. Drugs, alcohol, name something. You right there on Chicago and 38th. So George Floyd was where he belonged. George Floyd was a drug addict. He was a drug dealer. He was a counterfeiter. He was a wife, woman beater, and everything else y'all want to call him. That's what he was. Prove me wrong. But that's not what we care about. You can call him what you want. That's fine. But call him a cop catcher. Once you're done dogging him and calling him this and he died of fentanyl and all this here, call him a cop catcher. If you really want to do something, because that's what it was. But anyway, so they had a. Well, which one do I want to do? Do I want to do the Democrats or the Republicans first? Let's do the Democrats first. Them knuckleheads. Because that's going to lead into what I'm going to say here in a few minutes about the Republicans too. So yeah, everybody gets some tonight. So here is how things work here in Minnesota, right? You got a group of the Democratic Party don't believe that there are criminals. I know, but they don't. They don't believe that they're criminals, And if somebody does something, we're supposed to turn our heads and go the other way. If someone is assaulting you, then the Democrats totally believe that you have no right to protect yourself, right? Because today, the Democrats basically voted that the criminal have more rights here in Minnesota than a tax-paying, law-abiding citizen. That's true. So one of the things that I've done, and I'll do it again if we have to go, but one of the reasons I start carrying a firearm is I got a phone call in the middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning. I get a phone call from a mother. The mother says, my daughter's running away, Rev. Can you come help me find her? Can you get some people to help find her? Okay, I'll be over there in a few minutes. Went down there on Bryant Avenue, right? Got the mom. What do you think she's at? Well, she goes, I got a feeling she's over on Upton Avenue, in Upton and 26. And I know what she meant when she said up. Well, that's basically drug alley. There's drug houses. So I said, okay, fine. So we go to the drug house. I knock on the door. They open it up. I go in. I say, I'm looking for this here young lady, right? There are probably 9 guys in this place with guns. I walk in, the guns come out. I'm sitting here going, oh my God, what have I got myself into? From the time, so when I got the girl and we came out of the house, I made a promise to myself. That situation will never happen to me again. I will never walk into somewhere and I don't have a right to protect myself from these kids. That's what it was. These kids who I didn't have a firearm at the time. I was one of those people that thought, you know what? I don't need one. I'm cool, and what saved me going in the place is I knew two of the kids in the house. Yeah. Two of the kids goes to my church. That's what saved me from walking in. If I did not know those two kids, I don't know what would have happened. I don't think they would have shot me on sight. I think they would have warned me. But I made myself that promise. There would never be a time, ever, I'm putting myself in a situation where I have nothing to protect myself with. Well, the Democratic Party here in Minnesota have made it to where if I go in to get this girl, on my way out, they decided that, no, you know what? We want to cause trouble. I really don't have a right to protect myself. I have to retreat somehow, some way. With 9 firearms on me, I couldn't I have to retreat. See, the problem is half of these white liberal Democrats who are doing everything they possibly can do to keep somebody like myself from protecting myself don't ever get to deal with the type of kids that I deal with. Had there been a shootout in that place, or they threatened my life for coming to get this little 15-year-old girl, the Democrats say I don't have a right to protect myself. I'm out doing good, but they won't give me the right to protect myself. In Democratic-held strongholds, which Minneapolis is, they won't go and get somebody like that. They won't. Their phone don't ring to go do stuff like that. But yet they're going to make it hard for me to protect myself when I'm getting these young girls out of these drug houses. How is that right? How is that right? The Democrats know where the drug houses are. They all do. All of them do. They know there's drug houses. They know there's drugs being sold. They know these kids are selling drugs. They know these kids are using drugs. They know this stuff. But then they're going to make it hard for somebody like myself to want to go save these kids. I don't want to go walking in some place and everybody's got a firearm but me. I can't have a firearm. And if I walk in there and trouble breaks out and I get shot and killed, they ain't going to be able to find the people who did it. The investigation will go on for I don't know how long. Because the community, the crib, they're not talking. So the investigation will go on forever. There's 3. Look. We had a while back, right? We had 3 kids under the age of 10 get shot. 3. 2 of them died. One lived, LaDamian, he's in a wheelchair. They haven't caught the people who did that. So at this point, when I'm out on the streets and I'm working or I'm doing something, or I'm helping somebody, in my head, point blank, I got insurance. I got my gun insurance. So at this point, I would rather be judged by than carried by That's what I have to do because the Democratic Party here in Minnesota, I don't want to call names. I don't want to call knuckleheads. But they are pathetic. They really, really are. So they voted down today a bill basically giving me the right to protect myself from when show you another thing. So where my church is, right? Anybody tell you if you know where my church is? My church sits in the heart of all the trouble. So when there are gun battles in the parking lot of the church, and we have to escort our people out to the parking to get their cars. And we got thugs all over the place running and doing whatever. There's a better chance for me, taxpaying citizen, who are protecting his congregation, to go to jail for shooting a thug who is threatening to take. That's Minnesota, man. That's the Democrats in Minnesota. That's the Democrats in Minnesota. And you would think that black people, Democrats, who are legislators, would sit there and go, wait a second now, in this community, in our community, we shoot each other. Because that's what we do. I told you everybody's going to be mad at me tonight. That's what we do, right? I mean, everybody's going crazy right now because a rapper got shot and they shot his baby too, right? They killed the baby, the 5-year-old baby. Black people did that. That wasn't white supremacy. That was black people. White supremacy isn't killing the people in North Minneapolis either. Let's make sure we clear that up. And anytime that I carry and I put one in the chamber, I don't put one in the chamber for white supremacy. I put one in the chamber for people who look like me. I can say that because it's true. That's a fact. There's no ifs and buts about that. I'm not putting one in the chamber because of a white man. I don't carry on my ankle because of a white man and one on the hip because of a white man. I do that because of people who look like me. Half the time, if I'm in Maple Grove or Plymouth or something, I don't even carry. I carry a lot, yes, I do. But I got a kid that live over in Maple Grove. When I go over to his house, I don't carry over there. We go out, we go to the store, we go to Arbor Lakes, we go here, we go here. I don't carry over there. But the minute I go to church or the minute I go to help somebody down in North Minneapolis, South Minneapolis, over in on Maryland and St. Paul, over on Snelling and St. Paul, not only do I carry, but I put one in the chamber. And that's for people who look like me. Because we shoot each other. That's what we do. But the Democrats are saying that I've got to respect some thug who wants to rob and maybe even kill me. I've got to respect that thug. You out your mind. Like I said, I'd rather be judged by than carried by. But the Democrats they've seriously lost their mind. But I you know what? Still, even when it comes to them sometimes, even though they just blow my mind with some of the things that they do, and I go, oh, there's a reason I left the Democratic Party. There's a reason I'm no longer or vote specifically just Democrat. There's a reason that I don't have nothing to do with a large part of them. Now, I'll vote a Democrat if he's got, one of my agendas. There's a reason why I don't float behind a party. There's a reason why I left the Republican Party also. Like I said, my first time I ever voted in my life was for a Republican. My grandfather died a Republican. But the Democrats pissed me off. The Republicans pissed me off. So today I'm listening to Walter Hudson, right? So Walter Hudson was doing what Republicans do. And Walter Hudson was talking about he went to, I forgot where he said he went, but he went somewhere and he was talking to a juvie or somebody that dealt with children, right? And what Walter Hudson said was it was 6 kids, and he said that they had records on this kid about that high. We've been yelling and screaming this here for years. We know who the kids are. They know who the kids are. So what Walter Hudson was telling y'all today was not new to me. It's not every kid in North Minneapolis. It's not. It's a handful of kids, and they know who these kids are. We just don't have a place for these kids. To get these kids before they get to the point to what Walter Hudson and the Republicans want to do with them. Because they basically want to lock these kids up. Hold on now. Yeah, they do. This is a party. This is the very party who fought tooth and nail for the SROs to be able to bend black kids into pretzels in schools. The Republican Party did that. Yeah, they did. And now they're fighting tooth and nail to make sure that we don't prevent the kids, that we can't get in front of the kids to prevent them from doing things. They're fighting tooth and nail to make sure that we can pull the law and order lever, to make sure we can lock these kids up. And most of these kids that they're fighting to make sure gets locked up are black kids. Let's call it what it is. See, because if y'all ever look up Village Ranch, please do it. Please. They got one in Mankato. They got one down in Rochester. They got one all over for the little white kids. When the little white kids go to school, get in trouble. Look up Village Ranch. Look up a place called Village Ranch. That's where they send their little white kids to. The black people ain't rich enough to have nice little places they can send their kids for a little bit and straighten their kids up. But I want you to look up Village Ranch. Seriously. This is where the white kids go when the white kids gets in trouble. But you won't hear that from the Republicans. Because the Republicans are too busy fighting to make sure black kids get locked up in jail forever. There is no prevention. You don't ever hear the Republicans talk about prevention. You don't ever hear them talk about what would happen in the middle while they're in jail. And you don't ever hear them talk about helping these kids when they get out of jail. The only thing you ever hear them talk about is tougher sentences to keep them in there longer. Now, hold on, because I know what everybody always, try to make this into something that it's not. Nobody's saying that these kids shouldn't be punished. You damn right. I want them punished. If we could build something outside of Minnesota to send these kids away, we build something way up north and send these kids there. That's what I've been asking for 3 years. 3 years I've been asking I went to the Republicans and asked them to help me get Totem Town open so we can get a place for these kids. I have. If y'all been listening to me long enough, you know what my goal is for these kids that are out here doing the things that they're doing. They need to be put in some place. I don't believe in throwing kids away. See, that's the Republicans' mindset. The Republican, that's all they know. They have a Richard Nixon mindset. Who did Richard Nixon blame for all the drugs and everything? The problem? Blacks and hippies. Remember that? Go look it up. I'm just telling you what I know. Blacks and hippies. Well, the Republicans here in Minnesota have taken the hippie part out and just went straight black. And Walter Hudson wouldn't know anything about it. Walter said he went down and he had a comment, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad Walter Hudson. But as I can see when he was talking, he got nothing out of it. Only thing he got out of it was there was 6 kids and there's a folder this high. Well, here's my question to Walter Hudson. What do we do to prevent them from getting in this trouble? And then they sit there, well, they got to want to. Well, when you got kids that living in the situation that they're living in, not all these kids that y'all want to stick away get to live out in where? Like St. Michael in a rich white area. Black kids don't get that. Well, not all black kids, some black kids, a few, 1 or 2. They don't get to live out in Otsego. They don't get the land of the milk and honey. And the problem with the Republicans is they don't see the beginning. Why are these kids like this? What's going on with these kids? What's going on in the household? They don't care. Republicans could care less. Like I said, they fought to make sure that these SROs could knock kids out and fold them up like pretzels. You think they're going to care about these kids who are out here in the streets, who got single moms maybe, who single dads, or that? You think they're going to care about that? That's the problem that I have with the Republican Party. They don't give a damn. Number one, they do everything they possibly can do to take away some of the programs that some of the programs that are helping. There are people who don't even have bootstraps, don't have boots to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. And the Republican Party here in Minnesota ain't helping nobody. Because most of the Republicans here in Minnesota don't live around Hennepin County enough to even understand, to want to care about what goes on with those very kids that they want to lock up forever. So people like Walter Hudson can say the things that he say because he know everybody outside of Hennepin County is going to clap for the crap that he says. And not anybody who's clapping with Walter Hudson gives a damn or even comes in. If you read some of the, I posted it. I posted what Walter Hudson says, but read the comments. You don't have to worry about what Walter says. I want you to read the comments of the things that are being said when Walter says stuff. Don't listen to what Walter say, but what I want y'all to start doing is read the comments. When Walter Hudson says something, read the comments, and you'll understand what I'm saying. Because if you don't understand and realize what's going on, how things work, how things are going on, how things are going, then you would be just as racist as some of the comments that follow Walter Hudson's tweets. And they are very, very bad. Very bad. That's what got me today. It wasn't really what Walter Hudson says. It was the comments that was made after and I don't expect Walter Hudson to go back and go, you know what, hey, not my page. Let's not do that on my page. I made a comment. This is what I mean. This is what. But the racist comments, I don't expect Walter to do something like that. I wouldn't expect him to do something like that. But read the comments that you're getting, that Walter gets from some of the stuff that he's saying, because what he's saying is about black kids. It's about black kids. Period, point blank. My thing is this. If we can get in front of those 6 kids that even Walter Hudson says that they told him about, if we can get those 6 kids help, then guess what? That knocks half of the crime down right there. No, seriously. He'll tell you. Ask Walter. If we get those 6 kids some help, we get them off the street into a program. Now, here's the other problem with this here. We have a community of black people that wants to play victim, and they do. They swear up and down. They're victims of every damn thing. You name it, their ass is a victim of it, which they're not. But right now, all of this money that has been given to these organizations, and then these organizations have been stealing, you don't see the black community rising up on that, do you? You don't hear them saying nothing. Not one word. And all the money that comes into the black community never hits the ground. That's something that Walter tell you. And any other Republican that listened to me a long time ago will tell you. I sounded that alarm a long time ago. I told them that there's money that's coming into the community and it never hits the ground. Nobody knows where it's at. And the kids are suffering. Now, if that money hit the ground, if that money was helping the community, guess what? Those 6 kids will have a place to go. Those 6 kids would be helped. And then we wouldn't have a lot of the carjacking. I think Walter will tell you the same thing that I'm telling you now. If we can get those 6 kids out there, but we can't. Why? Because the Democratic Party, now here's when we're about to kick them back into this whole situation. So you got the Democratic Party that's over here. You got the Republican Party that's over here. The Democratic Party is sitting here going, we don't want to lock nobody up. The Republicans are sitting here going, we want to lock everybody up. How do we get them like this? How do we get them going, okay, we need accountability, right? Democrats saying, we want accountability. The Republicans saying, we want to help with making the accountability a reality. What do we need to do? So we need to come together and we need to talk about prevention. How do we prevent these kids from getting to the situation that they're in? But then they sit there and go, well, the kids have to want to show up. The kids have to want. No, you arrest their little ass. You put them in a program, and they don't leave the program until they're ready to leave the program. But what we can't do is what they did a while back, when they just combed the streets and got kids and stuck them in prison. And those kids were in, oh, wait a second. I think I found something. Oh, my goodness. Are you kidding me? We can't do it anymore. We can't just leave our kids in prison. We can't just leave our kids in jail. We can't throw our kids away. I refuse. I refuse to throw my kids away. They deserve better than that. So I would expect that the Democrats and the Republicans will come together and figure something out. And if they can't, then they need to sit down with people who are on the front lines and doing what we're doing with these kids. And that brings me to that point. It's why I keep telling you all that you shouldn't be, if a somebody come and say, I want you to vote for me so you can send me up to the Capitol to work with you, to work for you. You tell them no. You're not getting my vote. Because I know what that means. That means we get the legislators that we have right now. That means we get the legislator, whether it's Democrat or Republican. Like I told you, I don't have a fish in the pond because I could care less about both of them. Because look, like I said, I was a Republican, had to leave. I was a Democrat, had to leave. I'm on my own now. That's why I can talk about both of them. And it doesn't bother me to say what I say. It bothers you all because you're a cult in the Republican Party and you're in the cult of the Democratic Party. And when somebody tells you the truth about one of them, that's usually when everybody jumps on me, right? Is when I'm telling you the truth about prove me. But I always say prove me wrong. I never get anybody that wants to have a conversation with me. I don't. But my get up with the situation with, I was saying with what was going on with Walter was that. And so I screenshotted some of the comments. Like this dude, right? Oh, I'll get to the Jasmine Crockett thing. So he says, so this B.O., this cat. So I'll let you see that for a second. Him, that one. So he says, Rev, did you even listen to what Walter says? Yes, I listened to everything Walter says. Then he said, there are systems in place to help get kids or adults on the right path. There are systems. The problem is that the systems don't go far enough. Not only is the problem is the system don't go far enough, the money that's supposed to be going to these systems are not used the right way. And there's no one, whether it's Walter and the Republicans or if it's Cedric and the Democrats, that makes sure that this money gets used the right way. And 99.9% of the time, the money is not used in the right way. So if you want to work on that, and then go talk to the Republicans and Democrats, see where that gets you. Because I've tried it already, and it didn't get me anywhere. And then he says the problem is that they have to want to change and to do better. See, I understand what you're saying there. Yeah, they've got to want to change. But here's what I want you to understand is when you don't understand what they're changing, what they want to change from, and when they see no change, it's usually the reason these kids start doing what they're doing and turning the way that they're turning. When you don't, here's the part that it cracks me up. Anytime, especially people who live out in the suburb, who likes to talk about stuff that they have no clue about at all. So then he says, unless they do nothing unless they do nothing, nothing is going to help them because they don't want to change. Everybody wants to change, dude. That's where you're wrong. These kids want to change. But when you walk out your door and you've got to worry about gunshots, you don't have to do that in Plymouth. You don't have to do that in Elk River. You don't have to do that in Otsego. You don't have to do that in St. Michael. You don't have to do that in Maple Grove. You don't have to do that in Elk River. You don't have to do that in Hopkins. Huh? But these kids do. Many of these kids do. So it's easy for people like this dude to say some of the things that he says is because you don't come down and you don't realize what a lot of these kids go through. So you can sit there and you can have these type of thoughts. Then we have another dude, this one right here. This is from Walter. He said, not going to happen until he said, remove and deport all of the legal invaders. Remove anti-law enforcement Keith Ellison. Remove election cheater Steve Simonson. Get rid of the woke. I love it when they city council members. Remove the woke police chief and remove the illegal invaders on the police force. At no point in time did either one of these people say anything about prevention. They never talk. They never say anything about prevention. How do we not get these kids in a situation where between 6 kids, over 50 felonies and attacks and all that? How do we do that? That's been my goal. And if we do get them, which they should, again, let me say it. These kids need to pay a price. They needs to be held accountable for a bull. They have to be locked up. But once we lock them up, what do we do with them? And then once they are free, they need to be able to do something to be a citizen in the community. Because what we want, what I don't want to see is I lock them up at 16, they get out at 21. What happens? They're worse off than when they when they get out. They're worse off when they get out. What do we do with those kids that we let out? We put them in at 16. They get out at 21. What are they going to do now? What type of life are they going to have? We never think about that. That's not something the Republicans care about. As long as we can get them off the streets, that's all we care about. Democrats, they don't care about that either. As long as we can keep them out of jail, which we don't need to be keeping these kids out of facilities. We don't. We need to put them in facilities. We need to get them help. We need to make them law-abiding citizens and then go. Look, I'm all about putting these kids. First thing I would draft up is if you're 16 years old, you go into this facility, you're getting your GED and everything else you need, and then you're going to the military. Those are the choices you have. I'm going to give you a choice. I can put you in the big boy prison. I can put you in this program. But once you're done with that program, you're going to the military. Those are the choices you have. But you're not getting out of prison and then being worse on society than you were before I put you in. That's what happens. That's what happens. Yeah, I'm all about saving these kids. I'm all about saving them. I'm all about getting them help. I'm all about doing the things that needs to be done. And if the Republican Party really want to do something, they will find all this money that's supposed to be going to these programs that are going in people's pockets. If they really, really wanted to do something, they would get subpoena power. They would have fought for subpoena power to subpoena these people. But because they didn't, they can't subpoena nobody. So this little, of a sham get up thing that they got going on now don't mean nothing. They can't do nothing. What can they do? No, seriously. What can they do? Nothing. The main players, they can't get the main players in front of them because they don't have power to subpoena nobody. So instead of writing these stupid bills that you guys are coming up with, why don't you help me get a place to put these kids? It's not, and like Walter said, listen to what he said. It's not a lot of them. It's not like the whole hood is full of these bad kids. Really, it's not. And if we had a place for them to go, I guarantee you the hood be like, it's him, it's him, it's him, it's him, it's him. Get him out of here. Nope, get him out. We need those kids gone. But there's no place to put them. And then we got to fight the Democrats, because those liberal whites will be coming in because, all of a sudden now they ain't got no one to take care of. They ain't got no one to throw money at, and then they get kickbacks, because that's pretty much the big reason why you have a lot of these nonprofits and these organizations. That's the war chest for the Democratic Party. They just came something up. Look at what's going on with Bobby Champion. I'm just saying. If you don't know, look it up. Senator Bobby Champion, CD5. Check him out. I'm just saying. So it's not just about writing bills to lock these kids up. It's also about, where's this money going? What gatekeeper got their money in their pocket? Make me understand how one big church that's sitting on Broadway, the biggest black church sitting on Broadway, just saying, make me understand how they get millions and millions and millions of dollars, and the community hasn't changed. Hello? Make me understand how they get millions and millions and millions of dollars, and the community hasn't changed. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. And until the Republican Party, the Republicans here, want to actually do something to help the kids, stop being hateful, people. Because that's what you're being. You're being hateful. I listen to a lot of stuff that they was talking about, the bill that they're doing. I don't agree with the bill, don't get me wrong, but your solution and what you guys come up with solutions, they're not right. I'm not saying that the Democrats got the answers, because they don't. They don't. I mean, I understand, and don't get me wrong, like I said before, giving somebody 3 chances to do bad stuff, these kids being on points, they carjack a car, you take them back home and you give them a point. I've been yelling about that for years, man. I've been saying how wrong that was for years. I've been saying how wrong it is that these kids can walk into a store and steal up to a certain amount before they get in trouble. I've been talking about that for years. I've been talking about how many times they can carjack somebody, commit an assault and all that. I've been talking about that for years. That's not right. These kids have to be held accountable. They do. But I'm not willing, Democrats. They have to be held accountable, Democrats. They do. I know you like I say, you're white progressive. You want to try to save the world, and you think you're saving the hood, but you're only using the hood to get the money. Yeah, that's the only reason the Democrats are doing what they do, people. Don't fool yourself. It's not like the Democrats really give a damn about black people. They know they can use black people, and they can make a lot of money off of black people. The Democrats know that, and that's what they do. That's why they fight so hard to make sure that a kid can commit violent acts 3 times before they be put in jail. That's why they make sure that the criminal has every right to protect himself from being a criminal as a taxpayer. The Democratic Party knows they can make a lot of money off black people. They know that. They know it. Black people in the Democratic Party is a business. We are not in the Democrat. That's why I left the Democratic Party, because I realized I'm not going to be one of their. I'm not going to be. No, you're not going to use me like a. No. That's why they won't. So, hold on. Watch this here. This is a funny thing. I'm gonna show you something. Tim Walz. I had to retweet that. So Tim Walz decided to try to push back on. Tim Walz tried to push back on the Republican Party. Where's that at? So Tim Walz says, he really said this. Tim Walz says, that's a shame. If your Republican representative won't meet with you because their agenda is so unpopular, maybe a Democrat will. That's a damn. No, seriously, hold on. Because I know y'all probably sitting there going, Rev's making this stuff up. Tim Walz would never say anything like that. There's no way in the world Tim Walz will say maybe a Democrat will. There is no way. The only way you can meet, only way Tim and the Democrats will meet with a black, if they can buy them. If Tim Walz owned black people in North Minneapolis. Tim Walz owned a whole church. He used to own a sandwich shop until the guy died. True story. So Tim Walz just told a lie. Tim Walz, he said again, that's a shame. He said, if your Republican representative won't meet with you because there's an agenda, their agenda is unpopular, maybe a Democrat. He's a liar. Tim Walz will not meet with me. There's Democrats will not. They see me coming. I don't announce when I go on the Democrat side. And I've been over there on a few occasions, and they know me. People go, they're not in. Really? I'll sit here and wait for them. I'll wait them out. I'll wait till they got to go to the bathroom. They'll come out their office. But Tim Walz just told a lie. I can tell. Listen, I can tell you that's a lie. I can tell you the Democrats will not meet with me. I can tell you Peggy Fleming will not meet with me. I can tell you Tim Walz will not. With everything that I do in the community, they will not meet with me. Matter of fact, so Bobby Champion, Senator Bobby Champion, CD5, right, calls me up. I said, I want to have a meeting with you, Bob. He said, okay. So he had his little person call me up and says, Senator says he has 15 minutes with you on a Zoom call. You can kiss my ass. I fed your community. When your community needed feeding, I fed them. When your community needed protection, I scrapped up with my AR-15 and walked your community streets. And only thing I get from you is a 15-minute Zoom call. Boy, you can kiss all the brown on my ass. I fed your community. I drove the elderly from the towers all the way to Robbinsdale to get their medicine. I raised money for that. I raised money for shoes and shirts and clothes and things for people in your community. And only thing that you can give me is 15 minutes on a Zoom call. You're a liar, Tim Walz. Your Democratic Party will not meet with anyone with a strong, especially a black man with a strong voice. Especially one you can't break. especially ones you can't break. And they realize, and the Democrats realize that they can't put me on a tree. They can't wrap me and then whoop me until I say that my name is no longer Kunta Kinte, it's Toby. If I was to go to the Democratic Party right now and I say that I want to be the victim that you want me to be, and if I was to say that I'm no longer Kunta Kinte, I'm Toby, I would be in. Oh, yeah. Oh, and then I would have to drop my firearm. I would be in the Democratic Party with no problem because I'm black. I'm a preacher. I got a church with people in it that I can sway to vote. I would be in. I could get a check. I could be living. Dude, I could trade in my 2016 Altima for a Cadillac every single year. On the taxpayer's dime. I could. That doctor's bill that I just got for my dialysis, that $1,600 that I got to pay, I could have that paid off with no problem. Those are facts. But because I refuse to be broken, I refuse to be bent over a log and no Vaseline. I refuse to take money out of the community in the way that these people do and then give some of it back to the. But everything that I've done and I do for the community, dude said, 15-minute Zoom call. That's all I got for you. And I feed his community. I've been in drug houses in his community. I've stared down drug dealers in his community. I've taken kids, like the kid that we got out of Rainy River that we have in Rainy River right now, that will be this is his last year. If y'all been with me long enough, there was a kid that did not want to be beat in the gang. Correct? What did we do? I came on here and begged you guys for money to help me with this kid. Correct? And some of you still help me right now. His last year at Rainy River, finished high school. We got him into college in Rainy River because he had nowhere. Basically, he had a place to live, but it was a bad place. That's why we kept him up in that area where he got a job and everything. He's done this year. That kid came out of Bobby Champion's district, the worst district in the state of Minnesota. That's where we got that kid from. We saved that kid's life. So when Tim Walz tried to stick the Republicans in the butt, at least the Republicans, there's Republicans, even though Kip, if y'all know, I don't know if y'all know who Kip is, even though Kip don't really like me that much. Kip says because I shit on everything. And that's reverberates through the Republican Party. A lot of Republicans, they don't like me. But I got Republicans who I talk to every single day. Walter's still kind of mad at me because I said something about his little friend. So that's why Walter stopped following me because, anyway. But Walter's always going to be my guy. I mean, even though I talk about him sometimes, Walter knows. Right? But Tim Walz is a liar. So I want y'all to make sure y'all understand that. Tim Walz is a liar because I know for a fact that what he said about Democrats talking to people, it will never happen. I can tell you that for a fact. Cedric right now, there used to be 3 Democrats that I can call and I can talk to. Well, there's still a couple. But for sure, I can call Cedric Frazier I can call his phone and he'll pick up. But the rest of them Democrats, they ain't messing with me. They see me coming. I'm not kidding, man. I am dead serious. There's a tunnel, right? You guys ever walk in that tunnel? That, like when you're going from the Capitol over to, what is it, Senate or whatever that is over there, and you walk through that tunnel? Dude, I can be walking over, going to that side, and Democrats that I know will be coming up the other way. They will go. They're gone. They're gone. Because they know I'm coming at them. I'm not. It's not gonna be. If you're gonna keep screwing my people, I got to come see you. Period. Point blank. When I come, they run. They run because they know I'm not putting up with it. They know I know they full of shit. They know I know they use black people. They know that. And they know I know it. And a lot of other black people ain't going to say that, but they don't want to hear it, so they run. Right? Period, point blank. But Tim Walz a liar. He's a liar. Period, point blank. And if he want to have this conversation, Tim Walz, any night of the week, you let me know. I'll put you right there. We can have this conversation about Democrats having meetings with people. They won't. Not with me. If that's the deal, Tim Walz, hey, y'all, somebody shoot this to Tim Walz. Shoot me, please, for me. If y'all want to do that, shoot it to Tim Walz. If that's the deal, Tim Walz, why don't you give me a call? Can't act like you don't know who I am, because you do. Or why don't you have one of your Democrats give me a call and we sit down? Matter of fact, Tim Walz, I'll do a Zoom meeting with you. You can give me just 15 minutes to talk to you. I doubt that'll happen. I doubt that'll happen because Tim Walz don't want to hear what I got to say because he knows I'm right. But this little crack that you tried to do with the Republicans, I can't believe I'm sitting here actually defending the Republican Party right now, but I'm going to. The little crack that you put on the Republican Party about them meeting with a Democrat, really, it's a lie. You lied, Tim Walz. Anyway, fam, I'm done for tonight. I got to get out of here. I got some stuff that I got to do early tomorrow morning, so I got to go plug in. But anyway, sorry again. I forgot to tell everybody that I don't have control of my Get Up where I can see any comments for some reason. I don't know what happened to it. I have zero clue. I was down here messing with something or doing something. I don't remember what it was. And it disappeared. So where it's at, I don't know. Sorry. I'll do better next time. Promise. But anyway, y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. More likely, I will be back on Monday. Hey, I think I may have a guest on Monday. I may have a guest. I'm not going to say right now, but if you show up on Monday and she's here, if you show up on Monday, she's here, then you're going to enjoy her just as much as I do. All right? Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Peace, fam. I am outie.